Hi, so today I'm presenting a marketing vision for a decelerated future inspired by Mueller's ideas. Rather than eliminating technology, the goal is to encourage more intentional use of it, beginning with childhood learning. As a mother, this topic does feel very personal. I want children to develop attention, patience, and confidence in their own thinking before becoming dependent on screens. The central message is simple. Technology should support thinking, not replace it. So, think first, click second. Technology is shaping how children think, learn, and pay attention from very early ages. Mueller reminds us that faster systems do not always create more freedom. They often increase pressure and move quicker and rely on efficiency instead of developing deeper skills. As a mother of a 3-year-old, this feels very real to me. I want my child to build patience, curiosity, and confidence in his own thinking before becoming dependent on any kind of screen. Mueller challenges us to question whether more technology always means progress. When children rely on screens too early, speed and convenience can begin to replace persistence and independent problem solving. So, the objective here is to encourage a more intentional balance in how technology is used in early childhood learning. Today, many everyday school activities rely heavily on tablets and computers, sometimes replacing books, handwriting, and step-by-step problem solving. In some classrooms, screens have become the default tool, even before children fully develop foundational skills like writing, mental math, and deep reading. The objective promotes learning environments where paper, printed materials, and independent problem solving remain central, and computers are used selectively rather than routinely, especially in early grades and take-home assignments. Research suggests that high screen exposure at early ages can influence attention development and reduce time spent on activities that build patience and cognitive strength. So the goal here is not to remove technology, but to ensure children first develop focus, creativity, and confidence in their own thinking. So technology supports learning rather than replacing it. Of course, not every audience will respond to this message in the same way. So the focus is on those most likely to recognize the value of balanced learning environments. So demographically, the primary audience are parents ages 20 to 45 with children about 5 to 12, since they strongly influence both home and school learning choices. Psychographically, this message resonates with parents already concerned about screen dependence and its impact on attention, learning habits, and independent thinking. Behaviorally, the focus is on families actively limiting screen time or seeking learning environments that emphasize reading, writing, creativity, and hands-on problem solving. Geographically, the campaign is most relevant in suburban and urban communities where digital learning tools are widely used. By targeting parents already open to more intentional technology use, the campaign increases the likelihood of meaningful and realistic change. So rather than trying to persuade everyone, I will target one group. Therefore, the focus is on parents already concerned about how screen dependence may be affecting their child's attention and learning habits. As a parent myself, I understand how personal these decisions can feel. We want our children to succeed, but we also want them to develop patience in their persistence and confidence in their own thinking. Teachers and school administrators are often an important secondary audience because they are the ones communicating directly with the parents. So the parents can and should initiate those conversations with them. But parents are the most effective starting point because they are emotionally invested and often influence school expectations and policy decisions. By focusing on parents who are already open to more balanced learning environments, the message is more likely to gain traction and create momentum for change. So again, the message is not about rejecting technology. It's about restoring balance in how children learn. Technology is a powerful tool, but when it becomes the automatic solution for every task, children may have fewer chances to develop patience, persistence, and confidence in their own thinking. So the position here is simple. Give children consistent opportunities to practice handwriting, reading, and problem solving without immediately relying on digital tools. Mueller reminds us that when everything is optimized for speed and efficiency, we can unintentionally limit the deeper learning that comes from effort, from reflection, and focus. We are all here pro childhood, pro thinking, pro creativity, and pro attention. Technology should remain a support for learning, but it should not replace the process of developing independent thought. Not everyone will agree with this idea right away, and that's okay. Some parents and educators are already concerned about how increased screen use may be affecting children's focus, while others do believe that early childhood exposure to technology can give their kids some technological advantage. So rather than trying to convince everyone, the goal is to activate parents who already value balanced learning. Parents care deeply about their children's development and often influence school expectations. As more parents begin to question whether more technology always leads to better outcomes, their collective voice can encourage schools to adopt more intentional learning practices. Building strong support among those already open to this idea helps reduce resistance over time. So the message focuses on strengthening how children learn before technology becomes the default tool. First, foundational skills like handwriting, reading printed materials, and solving problems step by step help children build concentration and confidence in their own thinking. Second, when computers become the starting point for most tasks, children may begin to depend on speed and convenience instead of developing persistence and problem-solving habits. Third, balanced learning environments help children grow into adults who can think critically and use technology intentionally, rather than automatically relying on it. So the slogan here, strong attention starts with you, speaks directly to parents and reinforces that small choices in early learning environments can shape how children think over time. Together, these ideas are captured in the central message. Think first, click second. Since parents are the primary audience, the message appears in spaces where they already make decisions about children's development, which can be parent Facebook groups, schools, libraries, pediatric offices, and parent-teacher meetings, which are environments where conversations about learning habits and screen time are already happening. The visual, which can be also turned into a flyer, reinforces this message by contrasting two learning environments, one centered around screens and one centered around attention, interaction, and engagement. The phrase, let's change this for this, highlights how small changes in early learning experiences can shape how children think long term. Presenting this message in familiar and trusted spaces makes the idea feel practical, relatable, and possible. So, a decelerated future does not mean removing technology. It means being more intentional about when and how we introduce it. I grew up with very limited access to computers. I wrote papers by hand, solved math problems with pencil and paper, and did not have a cell phone throughout school. Because of that, I learned patience, focus, and how to work through problems without immediately turning to a device. Now that I am in my 30s, I can see how those early habits still influence me. I do not feel the same need to constantly scroll or rely on technology for stimulation. When children learn in environments where screens are not the starting point, they can build confidence in their thinking instead of feeling pressure to constantly optimize and keep up with speed-driven systems. Small changes like reducing routine screen use, encouraging handwriting, and prioritizing attention-building activities can help raise a generation that uses technology intentionally rather than automatically. If we want a future where human development matters more than constant productivity, the shift begins with how children learn. So remember, strong attention starts with you. Thank you.